Heidi ho, neighborinos! I have returned again today to do their next episode in the March Comes In Like a Lion saga. And yeah, I have really high hopes for the series because the first episode was actually amazing. Like, it was a well-directed first episode. Though apparently I did get it wrong. I thought Shimbo was actually kind of the major part of the series, but he isn't actually. He's kind of just there. So that was actually kind of surprising. It's actually the two other dudes actually working on the show that's actually at Shaft, not done by Shimbo. And I was like, hey, wait a second here. Like, what's happening? I thought Shimbo does everything at Shaft, but apparently he doesn't. I was like, okay. All right. I guess I'm allowed to be kind of wrong sometimes, and I was wrong in that case, so I do apologize. Though on Mal, it does actually kind of list his name as a director, so I don't know whether or not he's just in the corner like, hey guys, that looks pretty good. That's what he's kind of rolled as an entire show. I'm not too sure. But I imagine it's probably the case. Like, he's just in the corner going, yeah, I like that. Do that. But, yeah, so kind of do have hope to see where the series actually goes. I want to see whether or not it just kind of delves more into the psyche of our main character, because he does kind of have a very complex psyche, and I actually find it quite interesting. So, who's to say it actually might go even deeper than it already has. So, kind of got really itchy nose as well. I don't know why. Today of all days, I've had a really itchy nose. Alright, so enough of my personal struggles. I shall move you over to here. So then I can actually see the chats, because anyone goes, hey mate, how you doing? And I can actually now go to the main page and actually kind of start this in 3, 2, 1. At this very second, I am starting. I forgot this guy kind of evaded, didn't he? I guess completely, like, just going over the fact he did just go into his mail without his permission. There's a Shaft. There's the studio Shaft working. Well, you can see it. It's just like with the colors in the presentation, that was very Shafty. Oh, there's the opening as well. Everything's working fine. I don't know if it actually is the best opening of the season, or it's kind of like in the top three. I still think Yuri on Ice is the best one, the opening. And I think second is Drifters. Third, I think, is this. Oka's Bump the Chicken's pretty good. I don't think I've actually heard him in a very long time since Kekai Sensen. Bump of Chicken or Bump the Chicken. Sorry. Bump of Chicken. I might say Bump the Chicken. It's just a beautiful looking show. It's the other thing to note. Like, it's very, very, very nice looking show. Like, it's you can see Shaft's putting a lot of work into it. It's like it's not just a half-assed job. As if they've got a full quota to actually kind of make the shows they want to make. It's actually really bloody nice. And a middle ground Shaft. It's a pretty freaking good Shaft. That sounds really, really weird to say without actually putting that to context. Look at the backgrounds. Look at the background. It's so bloody nice. Damn it, Shaft. See, someone else does that game. I used to do that when I was a kid. I used to play a game of how many pigeons can you actually kind of scare doing that. I was an arsehole when I was a kid. Is that Kentucky? Kentucky. All of your English in English dub is Kentucky. Kentucky. It sounds so much like Sugita. Yeah, in English dub Gintama and Sakamoto calls Gintoki Gintaki. I was like, ah, isn't that strange? Oh, that is Sugita. That is his voice. I know his voice anyway. That's him. Drowning them, like I watched. Let me see. Drawing very bad. It's actually not that bad. The drawing. I actually quite like it. It has to be him. I gotta check afterwards. That's gonna annoy me. Oh, that's her. I get it. Should realize that sooner, actually. Damn. God, that went dark quick. Okay, so that's how they first met. I get it. character. The people he was with abandoned him. And he was like literally like skin and bone. I'm gonna make note of that timestamp actually. 14 minutes in, okay. I'm gonna note of that because I want to go back to it quickly. That's him. Skin Toki. Skin Toki. So him. I'm guessing probably the chapters in the manga are quite short, that's why it's adapting 2 per episode. Well, there's not enough material for 1 episode, so they just basically put 2. I'm guessing. You get the impression that Shaft shows really like the idea of really empty streets. I always constantly see the fact of these like kind of amazingly looking streets, but they're always kind of empty and barren, like almost to just represent how the character's feeling in his mental state of that one section. Was it to say basically he's like completely alone and isolated in this like massive town. I also kind of like this, the idea of how this anime kind of explores how all these characters impact his life. Each and every one of them impact him differently. Each for the better, each for the worse. It's actually kind of interesting. Oh, short disclaimer just in case something does happen. If my stream happens to go down any one section, it's probably because I have a power cut. They tend to happen sometimes. I thought I'd just say that just because it goes down randomly, like, oh, what happened? She's kind of the waffy material of the season, I'd imagine. I'm looking to notice how sometimes it goes into his perspective is all black and white, but then outside's on color. Quite like it as well. It just does a lot of things really, really, really damn well stylistically. That I really do like this show for that reason. Damn. She went beyond the Call of Duty and did that. such a beautiful show. It's beyond belief. Damn it, Shaft. It's actually a really, really nice pace, like a really, really nice pace show as well. It isn't too fast, nor is it too slow. It's just in the middle. That's how I like. Excuse me. That's how I like it. It's a quite an idea. They're giving the voices to the cats as well. It kind of gives them life. They're not just there. They've got a voice, and they're actually living and breathing in this world. If you get what I mean, it's not just there for show. They actually are characters. Something did happen in his past then that you can't actually remember. Damn, she's beautiful. See, the one thing I always love Shaft shows for is the fact that it really gets the cinematography correct. It's just so nice to look at. Whenever one shot is boring, every single shot is brimming with something that just makes it stand out so bloody much. It's so nice to watch. Damn. That's actually my animated season. I actually really do like this show. It's been so surprising. I never actually kind of thought this show would be that good, but it's actually bloody fantastic. I actually would be able to call this my animated season. Like, I think Yuri on Ice is just slightly before. And then I think third is Drifters. But I think this is number one. Just because I love how they're presenting this show. It's not just completely straightforward. There's a lot going on visually that kind of tells a bigger story than what the actual dialogue is telling you. I think that's the major thing I really do like about the series. It just is a lot going on, how each character just impacts his life and how they impact him differently, how each character might impact him positively, negatively, or it's all different. Every single character kind of impacts him differently. The whole entire idea before he actually got into the girl's house, and how he saw his perspective black and white, but then as soon as he got inside the house and it kind of cut back to his perspective, it was all completely color. Yes, he was going back to a darker time. He was explaining that how his memories are complete haze at that one section. But it's one of those little sort of things that it brought color to his world. That setting brings color to his world because he feels welcome there. He feels like he's wanted there. I think that he has his idea that he doesn't feel wanted, and I think when he's with those sisters, I think that's when he feels wanted. I think that's why that shot was presented in color, because at that one section he feels like he's wanted there. It's really, really stylistically amazing just to look at. Also, I like how it's live action shots at the end as well. Oh, God, I got chilled in my spine just then. That was strange. I didn't know, but the guy who draws Berserk actually Midora, I think they pronounce his name, something like that. Did the last like end slate drawing. I was like, oh, now I've seen it. I actually fully understand. It's actually him. I was like, oh yeah, it is him. But all right, I got to kind of quickly go and check whether or not I was correct. That is actually Sugita, because I think it is. Like March comes in like a line. Oh, it's gonna annoy me. I think it is him. Like, it has to be him. It sounds just the same. I was like, hey, wait a minute, I know that voice. Can't find him, actually. He's actually not there. Damn it. He's not. Dang it. I wanted to find out whether or not I was correct. I think it is him because it does sound exactly the same. But he's not there, which kind of sucks. But quickly have to go and check back that 14-minute stamp because I wanted to see whether... I got to check this. Before I completely just do my wrap up. Bit of wrong timestamp. Yeah, it seems like it's one of those shows that kind of does delve a little bit more deeper into a lot of things I didn't imagine it going into, but it's actually kind of interesting what it's trying to do, what it's trying to convey more than anything. I think it's just slowly releasing these little tidbits about his actual personality. Like we don't really know much about his life, so I should be saying, not his personality. Is we don't know too much about his life right now. We're really getting small little tidbits that he is kind of telling us about. In essence, how his mind's completely hazy about his day, how he doesn't really know what happened that day, but we've seen little snapshots that something major must have happened with his family. That's why maybe he's alone. And now, as well, I'm guessing there must have been something with, I can't remember her name. Akari. That's her name, Akari. I think there must have been something with her as well. Like she has some kind of past. I'm guessing, like on top of everything else that's going on in the show. I think she's got kind of a past. So I'm guessing what the show's going to do is going to slowly unravel these plot points as the show goes on. It's quite slow paced. It's going to slowly unravel these things. It's not putting every single egg it has in the basket and saying, here's all your eggs, mate. Go make some omelets out of them. No, it's going to kind of slowly release what it's trying to convey over time so it keeps you interested, because I wouldn't want it to kind of show me everything about his life within the first maybe 2 episodes, because it just feels like, well, what's the point watching now? You kind of to see him grow. I want to see how his life was originally to how it is now, and how he's going to grow beyond that point. So the way it's going is actually pretty freaking interesting. It's keeping me interested. It's keeping me going. And one other thing I wanted to note that I haven't actually said just yet, because it kind of sprung into my mind once he was walking around the town, is again, when I was saying about how Shaft does like to present its kind of very, very, very vast vistas as quite empty and quite barren. I actually think it's very, very good, because certain shows do tend to present their like towns as completely desolate and completely abandoned. But what this show does differently, what Shaft does tend to do differently, is the fact through dialogue and through narration, it gives life to this whole entire town. It doesn't just tell you this is a town. It doesn't tell you that, look, this is where he lives. And that's it. It tells you a lot more about it. He's basically explaining about how the different things are going on in this town, what really does happen in this town. Turn my headphones off before they fall off. So it does kind of give life to a really kind of, when you think about an empty town, because literally there's no one else there besides him. He's literally the only person else that's walking there, besides Akari, and her, I'm guessing her sisters. But that's the other thing to know, is how they actually do that. But I'm guessing the other thing to know is how it might just be that there might just be other people in this town, but I think he just concentrates on the people that he cares most about, or the people that impact his life the most. That's who he notices the most. So there might be other characters or other people in this quite like desolate town that we're not seeing right now, but the people he cares about, the only people he sees, so he kind of blacks everyone else and only concentrates on them. That might just be the other thing, because that's kind of like a running theme in these kind of shows, that it does kind of like to present people as quite like kind of enclosed, like in essence, people that kind of impact their life is the ones they concentrate on. Everyone else completely is like on the other end, because there is people, because once he goes to play shogi, there are people around him, but I think the people he concentrates on most, the people he cares about, or the people he actually gets impacted by. And that's what the show is trying to convey. So that's the case. That's actually a pretty interesting idea to actually do, because again, it's one of those things I didn't expect this show to do, but I'm completely like kind of flawed. I'm actually really surprised, because this show does a lot of things good. Like it's no new thing that Shaft know how to animate. Like freaking hell, some of the frames in this show are bloody phenomenal. Like that one frame that had Akari just like turn her head. That was one single scene. But how she turned her head was amazing. I was like, man, that's a nice frame. That's a nice frame. They also know how to frame their characters to kind of represent how they feel, because one other thing I'm kind of noting is how they present. I think his name is Ray, isn't it? I think the main character's name is Ray. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. I think his name is Ray. Yeah, Ray. I think one other thing, I'm gonna have to go and check that now. Like, I want to know how he walks, because I think what this anime tends to do is when he actually walks, he tends to walk like in the corner of a frame. Like he's not entirely in the actual like kind of forefront of the frame. He's always to the side. I kind of want to know if I'm right or correct or completely incorrect. No, it does. It presents him as if he's kind of in like this corner. Like if anyone kind of knows how that's actually done in cinema. In cinema, when a character is in a corner, it's almost to represent they're trapped, or something's going on mentally that's kind of trapping them. So I think that's what this show is trying to do as well. I like that recently, actually. So I think that's what this show is trying to do. It's trying to convey the idea that he has these mental trappings that's kind of making him as if he's like in this trapped area. Like he can't get out of that area. He needs to go beyond that point to actually grow further as a character. So I'm guessing probably as time goes on, he might just kind of get out of that stigma he has, learns more about his past, then maybe the memories start coming back to him, and he actually might just grow because it actually might grow to become a better person, a person who's more easygoing, a person who's more approachable. I don't know, because I thought I was watching it, I thought to myself, yeah, they kind of present his character as if he's kind of just there. Like he's not there like as if he's dominating the scene, because a lot of the time I think other characters tend to dominate the scene more than he does. He's the main character, but he's not the dominant person in this anime. The more dominant characters are ones who don't have these mental stigmas, these people that actually can just get beyond the point and actually grow. I think that's what this anime is trying to convey, that I think he has these mental hiccups that he needs to get over so he actually become a better person. I might be completely incorrect in how I'm interpreting that. That's how I see it. And I think if that's the case, again, very, very stylistically amazing, because it's one of those things that I'm guessing this show has more going on behind closed doors that makes you kind of want to actually kind of decipher the scenes than what is actually telling you thematically. In essence, the dialogue, if I can say the word, doesn't tell you this, doesn't tell you everything in the scene. The dialogue is only the kind of icing on the cake. The main meat and potatoes of that cake, because sometimes I'm guessing you get meat, potatoes in your cake, is really the visuals. The visuals tell a story more than just the dialogue. It's most all Shaft shows. A lot of Shaft shows do have a lot of cinematography that does tell you a story that doesn't, that really the dialogue doesn't tell you. That's what I'm trying to say to my mental hiccups. My actual like kind of word hiccups always kind of kick in. I can't actually speak my words sometimes. But I think it's what it's trying to tell you. I think a lot of the shows, like the Monogatari series, is full up with them. Like a lot of the Monogatari series, if you tend to pause a scene in a Monogatari anime, you can actually tell a bigger story just for the visuals, and you will just do what the scene's trying to tell you. So I actually quite like it. If that's the case, if they're going for that kind of motif, then god damn it, we've got a hit on our hands here, because it is doing that. I think it is doing that because it's just telling you that, look, he is trapped. I think maybe as time goes on, they actually might just change the actual visual motifs. It actually might grow bigger because, again, he sees a lot of things black and white. He's not completely in color. So I guess that's also another way to actually represent his mental hiccups, his kind of like mental like kind of state. I think, as well as I said before, with the whole entire thing of how he kind of is welcome in Akari's house, and I think that's how they're kind of presenting his like almost black and white like persona. In essence, once he's in that house, it kind of changes the color. He's almost as if he feels welcome. This is where he feels welcome. Everywhere else, he kind of feels alone, kind of just isolated, because his house is quite empty. The way he lives is quite empty, but when he goes there, his life completely changes. It kind of feels more welcome. It kind of feels a bit more lively. His face begins to change. Like, he's not this kind of character he was before. Is what I'm trying to get at, and I think it's actually kind of interesting. So I think the major thing to note is really the cinematography. I think the frames themselves, how they're framing him, how they're presenting him, how they're actually presenting the rest of the characters, is the major point of the series. I think maybe people might disregard that, but I think once you kind of look between the lines and actually kind of just decipher the scene, not just by looking at the dialogue and looking at what's really kind of the bigger picture, I think once you look deeper into the scene, you begin to actually pick up a lot more of what this anime is trying to tell you. And I think that's a major thing to note, is I'm not to tell you to sit here and go, guys, okay, this is what you're going to do. You're going to sit down for about an hour or two and actually decipher that scene. Like, in essence, kind of stop every single 5 minutes and just decipher that scene. I'm not telling you to do that because that'd just be completely boring. But what I will note is how to just kind of pick up in certain scenes and how they present his character, how he's framed, how he's shown, because it will tell you a bigger story. I think that's actually kind of neat. I actually like shows that do that. I like films that do that, because it's not just completely stilted. It's not just boring to look at, because certain shows do tend to present their stuff as kind of boring. Shaft shows never do. I think neither does Madhouse or anyone like that. Bones never do either. But I think Shaft do take it to the next level, and how they're kind of like, they're almost like filmmakers in animation form. Almost like as if they're taking inspiration directly from, I don't know, like the major kind of studios in the world, the major directors, because they feel like that, because a lot of their shows do tend to do that. Because that's one thing. If you ever want to do that, go and watch Monogatari again and actually look at the scenes and actually decipher what's inside the scenes, because you do tend to pick up a lot more. I think it's actually kind of neat. So, all in all, kind of get back to the actual anime itself. Pretty freaking good episode. I really did like it. I like how we're getting slowly more to know about Ray's character. Like, it's not just, as I said before, putting all the eggs into the basket and saying, hey mate, 10 eggs here, make some omelets. It ain't saying that. It's telling you, like, look mate, okay, you want yourself some, you want omelette du fromage, you gotta wait for that omelette du fromage. You gotta get to the end before you get that. I think it's actually kind of neat, because it's not rushing through. It's just kind of taking it slowly. I think the pacing is good. So a lot of these shows do tend to get boring, but I don't think this one's boring just yet. I think this one actually has a good pacing to it. So yeah, all in all, pretty freaking good. So yes, with all that said, I have indeed been a driver for the final time today. So if you have enjoyed the live stream, if my ramblings have made sense and you have enjoyed them, then do leave a like, because indeed, it does help me quite a bit. if you have enjoyed my content and you do leave a sub and actually become, I don't know, the 517th, I still think I'm stuck at. So if you want to come to 517th or the 18th, I'm not too sure just yet, then do leave a sub, because indeed, it does help me quite a bit. But with all that said, I have indeed been the driver, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. See you guys then. Bye for now.